Facebook has put a hold on its digital currency plans until it gets the approval of U.S. regulators. Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg told the House Financial Services Committee on Wednesday that he would delay the launch of Libra until lawmakers and regulators were convinced that it did not pose a security threat. Lawmakers are worried the cryptocurrency would enable money laundering and terrorism financing and would disrupt the global financial system. The social media company has faced a lot of scrutiny over the past year over antitrust issues. Zuckerberg's testimony follows several partners dropping out of the Libra project, making it harder for Facebook to gain regulatory approval.
I actually don't know if Libra is going to work. But I believe that it's important to try new things, and as long as you're doing so responsibly. That's what has made America successful, and it's why our tech industry has led the world. What we're discussing today is too important for any single company to undertake on its own. And that's why we helped to found the Libra Association. It's a coalition of 21 companies and nonprofits that are working to give everyone access to financial tools. But even though the Libra Association is independent and we don't control it, I want to be clear. Facebook will not be a part of launching the Libra payment system anywhere in the world, even outside the US, until the US regulators approve.
Let's get back to my guest from the top of the show, Jeffrey Tucker. He is still in Great Barrington, Massachusetts for us. Just a reminder of viewers, he's the editorial director of the American Institute for Economic Research. So Jeffrey, Zuckerberg says America risks losing financial leadership to China if it doesn't get behind Libra. China is proposing its own digital currency, which is expected to launch by the end of the year. Do you think that's true, what Zuckerberg says?
I think what Zuckerberg said was 100% true. I mean, this is the best testimony I've heard him give. I'm actually surprised to see his passion on this subject, and he's 100% correct. He understands what's going on in the world with regard to cryptocurrency, the new world of payment systems. He knows what's going on in China. People don't use credit cards in China. People are using their social apps to pay. This is one of the driving forces behind Libra. It was like, well, we've got the technology to use blockchain and cryptocurrency to create a global technology. And we have to do this because this is where history is headed. I mean, the U.S. is already really behind. And now what's most interesting to me about this testimony today is the moral panic on the part of the legislature here, the Congress and the Senate and the regulators, because we've been dealing with cryptocurrency for 10 years. Right? Everybody knows this. Bitcoin was invented 10 years ago. But up till now, everybody's seen it as a little bit of a plaything of geeks. But once Zuckerberg announced the Libra, suddenly there was a panic, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Now, all these people are pretending to be in favor of the consumer. They're worried about, privacy and security and valuations and everything. I don't believe that's the issue. The real issue is the worry of the loss of control by the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve if some other actual currency begins to compete directly within the U.S. and around the world with the dollar. That's what's going on. This is what set off this utter frenzy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to your point about China being on the forefront of the cashless society, I lived there for 4.5 years and got so used to using my iPhone to make payments that I actually forgot how to use real money in transactions. I want to ask you about more about Zuckerberg's testimony today. Several major players have left the Libra Association recently. Does Zuckerberg really have the backing to launch Libra, and how is it guaranteed?
On your first question, well, let me just note first that the reason that the backers have pulled out of it is because they were under pressure. I mean, the regulators came after them. They started investigating their books. They wanted complete audits of their various companies. And so, MasterCard and PayPal, American Express, all these people, they just said, you know what? It's getting a little dicey, a little hot in the room. I think we're out of here. So that's why that left. Has nothing to do with the viability of the currency. I think that Zuckerberg could give it a go. I really do. I think it could work. The biggest problem they're facing right now is this incredible torrent of backlash by the people in power. But here's what strikes me about this. They might be able to slow it down, and it may not be Facebook, it may not be the Libra, but at some point in the future, I don't know if it's 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, old-fashioned fiat money separated from payment systems with all the huge risks associated with them and the counterparty risks and all the cost to consumers and the financial exclusion, that is going away. And we are going into a new system. There will be a global cryptocurrency that regular people use, and it wouldn't be surprising if it was, as in China, through the social applications that this happened. So he's exactly right. They can slow it down, but they're not going to stop it.
All right, so you think it's inevitable. So what's the point in fighting it then?
You could ask that about a lot of things Washington does. They're working for special interests, and they're concerned about preserving their power in this new world of global private currencies. As for valuation, that's a really interesting question you're asking. Where does it get its value? Here's what's fascinating about it. It gets it from the market, not from the government, not from the Treasury, not from the power of the Federal Reserve to print money. It gets it purely by market valuation. I mean, the Libra in particular is backed as a very ingenious kind of thing. It's backed by a bundle of commodities and a bundle of currencies, but ultimately it's the market that's going to decide, and that's the new world we're living in.
All right, really great to have you on, Jeffrey Tucker, joining us from Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Thanks, Jeffrey.